I'm here tonight to say that Keyan Bliss is one of the best people I know. I would not be a fraction of the advocate I am today if it was not for Keyan Bliss. He is one of the sharpest, most attentive members of our community who has made it a better place just by being in it. The fact that he continues to volunteer his time on this commission despite this council's lack of professionalism and refusing to even pay attention to the work that that commission does, and then goes back and calls out his lack of professionalism, that is one of the most hypocritical things I've ever heard. I'm fully in opposition to this item. Keyan Bliss is one of the most necessary voices in the city of Sacramento. Thank you.
Council, my name is Ryan McClinton. As you know, a lifelong resident of Sacramento and a lifelong public servant of Sacramento to the community. It's funny that every time I stand at this dais, it's usually behind social justice or racial equity. Again, I don't prefer to be here. No disrespect to you all. Some of you guys are very good people to enjoy time with, but this is not how I'd rather spend my time. In fact, it's very sad that this council that committed to racial equity as a cause that you're invested in is even having this conversation around somebody being called out for racism instead of looking internally to say, well, damn, why would somebody have that feeling about me? Where's the internal reflection at? Where's the accountability to say, you know what, maybe we should all have a training in cultural competency to understand when you're hearing the term white supremacy culture, that's not just something that's being loosely thrown around. There are documented examples of what that looks like and how those practices are held up. As public health advocates, we are actively working to work against them in our own organization. None of us are exempt from it. So where we have a council that has repeatedly heard people use foul language, let me rephrase that. When we have a council that has repeatedly seen people act out in their trauma, you have to understand that there's a reason why that's being elicited. There's a reason why this vitriol comes up. There's a reason why there's over 30 members of this community who've committed time off, not having been paid, to address racial equity within this city's governance. There's so much on the table here that's at risk. This community here, you see the diversity here. Keyan Bliss represents that community. Keyan Bliss needs to be on that commission, and it's abhorrent that we're even having this discussion about him being removed. I think we need to take effective action now around how this city exercises racial equity, not only today, but going forward. Because for 4 years, there's recommendations from that commission that have still not been addressed. Why? Thank you.
Steve Williamson. I am Mr. Harris's appointee to the Community Police Review Commission. My every interaction with the police force of the city of Sacramento has been constructive, courteous, and efficient.
Please address the city council. We're going to give you your full 2 minutes.
I believe that had I shared more with Mr. Harris on the work of the commission, we would be avoiding the current drama. What I need to do is work harder to share with Mr. Harris the excellent work of the commission and the dedication of all the members of the commission. And I certainly hope in going forward that Mr. Bliss is there with me as well. He and I agree on very, very few items. He's young, I'm old. I live at this time a life of privilege. He works as an activist on behalf of the underserved. However, I am inspired by his hard work, his sincerity, and that of the other members of the commission. Our biggest challenge as a commission is figuring out how to work with this city council and the city manager's office and the constantly changing rules. Personally, I feel undermined at every step in our efforts to try to figure out how to serve this city. I work with Mr. Bliss one-on-one through text messages, and we meet privately to talk and try to share our different points of view. He is passionate, but he is sincere. He may need to fine-tune how he expresses himself at times, but I think it's worth the effort for him to figure out how to do that, and we should all work together to make that possible. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker.
Good evening. My name is Tifanei Moyer. I live in District 2. I'm also a civil rights attorney. Set aside the fact that this is an obvious violation of the First Amendment and will put the city vulnerable to yet another civil rights suit to protect the rights of your constituents. It is so clear to me that Harris' intent on mirroring the legacy of his ancestors, which is to attack Black men for the sin of making it merely uncomfortable for white men to legislate without critique. Councilmember Harris's actions are dangerous. It wields the power of the government against a community member who has dedicated his entire beautiful existence to uplifting the voices of the most marginalized people of this community. It is just really shameful to have watched the smug and entitled look of the council member's face as he leveled an attack on someone like this. Keyan Bliss has the deepest respect of every community member that I know. He is one of the sharpest people I know, and I work with a bunch of people who consider them to be some of the smartest people in the nation. He is so hardworking. So hardworking, I can't say that enough. So many hours of his day goes to imagining a better future for the city. He has so much integrity. His heart could fill this room, y'all. You are so lucky to have somebody like this who is continually showing up here to advocate for people that you are here to legislate on the behalf of. We need to protect Keyan Bliss. Thank you.